This video is going to introduce you to Gimp. Gimp is an acronym, kind of, which stands for GNU Image Manipulation Program. Gimp is an open source and free image editing tool which has versions for the Mac OS X, Windows, and Linux operating systems. Gimp is an awesome free tool that works similar to Photoshop in that it can work with layers of an image. In fact, it can even edit Photoshop PSD files. The big difference between Photoshop and Gimp is the price. Gimp, again, is free. Photoshop is far from it. So head on over to gimp.org and check out some of the links over here on the right-hand side. But the main one we're interested in right now is this guy right here. So go ahead and click on this. Heck, you might even want to go ahead and bookmark this page so you can always refer back to it later on. Go ahead and click on download, and I would go ahead and check this one out here, just mainly because there's some additional stuff here like the frequently asked questions in case you have a problem during the downloading process. And if for some odd reason you are interested in an older version of Gimp, then here's where you can get them. Otherwise, go ahead and click on the download link. Then you just click on the download link here, and it'll take us to sourceforge.net, where the installer will begin to download here. And then you just navigate to the location on your computer where you want to download that file to. Click on save, and it's an 80 some odd megabyte file. So depending upon your internet speed will depend on how long it's going to take. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video until this gets done. Okay, we've completed our download. Now to install, we just simply right click. Now I'm in Windows 7. So I'm going to right click and run as administrator, and not really sure how any of this is going to show up on the video, but click on yes. It's a pretty straightforward installation process. Okay, and click install. And at the time of this recording, this particular version is 2.8.6, in case you didn't notice that earlier. Right there it is. And the first time this loads up, it might take a little bit to start, so don't worry about the length that it takes to start up the first time around. Okay, click on finish, and let's go ahead and open up our software. And the installation process puts a little icon on your desktop, so go ahead and click on that to open it up. And it says here this may take a while, and a lot of this is going to be edited out of this video, so if your process takes longer than what this video shows, well, that's why. And it shot everything just outside of the view of the video, so let me see if I can kind of squeeze things in here. And that's it. And there's a ton of stuff you can do with this with the various tools you have here. And whenever you select a particular tool here, you have the details of that tool here. And here's where you can create a new image, or you can create from your clipboard, from a screenshot, from a scanner or a camera, or you can open a file that's on your computer somewhere. And that's going to bring us to the end of this video on an introduction to Gimp. Thanks for watching, and you have a great day. This video is going to take you on a tour of the Gimp work area. Now, after you've downloaded and installed your Gimp program, go ahead and open it up, and you're going to see a few windows pop up onto your monitor. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And these are the three windows I was talking about. Over here on the far left, you've got your toolbox. Here in the center, you've got your work area or your canvas window. And over here on the right, you have your dock window, which holds your dialog boxes, though. Like, for example, the channels, the undo history, and the layers, as well as any other dialog box you want to add here. And you can do that by hitting this little arrow here. I mean, there's a couple of ways you can do it. This is just one. Go to Add Tab. And let me move this over here. Go to Add Tab, and you can select from any of these items over here to add into your dialog box. For example, paths and color map. And you can see the more that we add, the more crunched this gets. Well, with the version 2.8 of Gimp, you're now able to have multiple columns, so you can take up a much larger area with multiple dialog boxes in your one docking window. So this works out perfectly if you are using multiple monitors. The only problem with this, though, is that for some reason, while I am recording this, it's not going to allow me to do that. Because how you do that is you grab one of these tabs you've got open, left click, hold, and drag it over to the side here. And whenever you do, right about here, you're going to have a blue border pop up over here. At that point, let go, and it's going to add it to a different column. I'm going to do this outside of this recording area here and bring it back in. And I'm going to do it with paths and the undo history. And you can see there, for some reason, it won't let me do it within the recording area. I mean, it'll let me do it on the same monitor as long as I'm outside of the recording box here, but I don't know. Anywho, technology. You gotta love it, right? But this is what it looks like. And you can also do multiple dialog boxes in the same column. What you would do is you would just left click, hold, and drag that tab to the bottom, and when the bottom area right here turns blue, then let go, then it will add that dialog box within this same column. Let me show you. Just like that. Pretty nifty. And like I said, with a second monitor, you can have this thing loaded up with different dialog boxes instead of having them all scrunched together in the one column without it having to take away from your workspace. Now you can have all three of these windows here neatly combined into one window or a single window, and I'll touch on that in more detail here in just a second. Now over here on the far left in the toolbox window, when you click on a particular tool icon, like say the text tool, the features of that tool show up down here below. So if you hit the paint bucket tool, you can see how that changes. The gradient tool, you can see how that changes. This allows you to fine-tune the features of that particular tool prior to adding it to your work area. Now there are even additional tools you can add to your toolbox, and I'll get to that here in just a second as well. Now along the top of your work area window is the menu area. And like most menus, you just click on the title and it's going to drop down more functions. Like under the file here, this is where you can create a new image, or you can create an image from your clipboard, scanner, camera, web page, screenshot, and so on. Or you can open up previous projects and work on those. Better yet, you can open them as layers. And you come on down here, click on quit, and that's going to close out all three windows simultaneously. Yes, you could go up here and hit the top right X on each of these windows. Actually, if you hit this one, it'll close out all three of them. But the best way to close out your program is to come up here under File and then click on Quit, or use the keyboard shortcut holding down your Control key on your keyboard while at the same time hitting the letter Q. Now over here under Edit, if we come on down to Preferences, and over here in the left window under Toolbox, this is where you can select some of these tools over here that maybe you feel that you're not going to be needing. You can just toggle them off or on. And if you scroll down further, you can see some additional tools that can be added that are not there by default. But if you find that you're not actually going to be using the desaturate tool, why take up all that extra space? Totally up to you. But now you know where you can go in and adjust your work area within your toolbox window. Now also over here in the left window of your preferences section, down here under window management, go and select that. And this guy right here, by default, the box is ticked. And that's going to save the window positions on exit. In other words, if I come up here and I have the dock window for my dialog box maybe like right here, and my toolbox like right like this, with this box ticked, and I close out Gimp, whenever I open it back up, this is how it's going to open up, just like this, which may be exactly what you want. But with this guy ticked, and if we close this one out first, then close out Gimp, then it's going to open it up as it was when it was closed out. And when it was closed out, this guy was not in existence. So when you open it up, again with this box ticked, it's only going to open up the main work area and the toolbox. Now that you know that, you want to make sure that you close out Gimp the right way. And that is again up here under File, go to Quit, instead of closing out the individual boxes. But if you do happen to do that by mistake, where you close one of these guys out first and then close out Gimp, you can always come back in here and reset saved window positions to default values. Or you can untick this box here and arrange the windows the way that you want them to show up each and every time, and then click on Save Window Positions Now. That way, no matter how you close it out, it's always going to be opened up the same way that it was whenever you clicked on this guy right here. And while you're in the preferences box, you might want to go ahead and check out some of these other items here as well. Let's go ahead and close this guy out. Go ahead and click on OK. Now up here under the menu area, if we go to View, let me show you what I'm talking about. Come up here and go to New, and then this pops up. And just for the sake of this demo, we're going to go ahead and click on OK. Now then, if we go to View, you can see how these are functioning now. And if you don't want the rulers, that's this guy over here and over here. Boom, gone. Come on back up to View. And if you happen to inadvertently click on this one to where it no longer shows the menu bar, you might be thinking, oh my goodness, now what am I going to do? At least that's what I thought the first time that happened to me. Well, no biggie. Just right click on your image area and you've got your menu right here. And you can come back to View, come on back down. Let me do this up here so you can see. Right click, go to View, come on back down here and show menu bar once again. There you go. And I also wanted to show you how you can get all these three windows to show up in one window. Come up here to Windows, click on Single Window Mode. Boom, there you go. Now some people prefer this. I myself, since I do work with multiple monitors, I prefer the multiple window view. That way I can take my dock window full of my dialog boxes and toss them over onto the other monitor, and it gives me much bigger work area to play around with. But now you know how you can get the single window mode going. And before we close out this video, I wanted to also point out here under the help section, you've got tons of additional information you can rely on here. You can check out the user manual here, and with Gimp Online you've got the user manual website and the tip of the day, which allows you to consume little nuggets of knowledge as you go along. Now of course there's a ton more to using Gimp than what was covered in this video tour, but hopefully this has shown you enough to get excited about all the possibilities of using this free and powerful tool called Gimp. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Gimp is a powerful image editor and creator right out of the box, but this video will show you how to add even more features to this already awesome free tool. Now after you've downloaded and installed Gimp, go ahead and open up your program. Come on up here to Edit, go to Preferences, go to Folders, scroll down a bit and then click on Scripts. And this will give you the paths available to where you can install additional scripts or plugins. Usually the first one will have a name in there. That's the name that you're currently logged into your computer on. So if you have multiple users to your computer and you only want to install this script or scripts into your accessibility, then use the first path. Otherwise, if you're the only one on your computer, then just choose this one here. Or if you don't mind allowing others to have access to those scripts that also use your computer, then use this one here. But this tells you where to install the scripts that we're going to be downloading here in just a second. So go ahead and get out of here. Let's go get us some scripts. Head on back over to gimp.org, and over here in the far right, click on Plugin Registry. And I would say bookmark this page for future reference because there's a ton of stuff in here in addition to the add-ons or these scripts that we're going to be getting here right now. Right over here is where we're going to search for the script. Now the one I'm going to go ahead and install is called Layer Effects. So just type in here what you're looking for, and in this case it's going to be Layer Effects. Click on Search, and this is the one I'm looking for right here. Just left click on that, and the one I'm looking for here is the .scm. That's this first one right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just right click and then left click on Save Link As. Navigate to the location on the computer where you want to save this particular file, and you can see it's not a very big file, so it won't take long at all to download. And I've already done that, so grab that file. I'm going to copy that. Then we're going to head over to where we need to place that. Let's just come on back here to Windows. Just kind of show you how I got there. Click on Users, the name of the account that I'm logged in as, the .gimp dash, then the version that I'm using at this point, it's 2.8, and then going to Scripts. And then I'm going to paste that file in here. That's how easy it is. Come on back to our Gimp installation. Come on up here to Filters, come on down to Script Foo, come over here and refresh scripts. Now before I do that, I want to point out that it's going to pop up another option up here in the menu section right in here. Come on down here, refresh scripts, and there we go. Click on this, and from now on, anytime that we add more scripts or plugins to that particular directory, they're going to be accessible right here. So let's go ahead and test this. Come on up here to File, go to New, and this is fine right here. Click on OK, and then we go over to our text tool, make some adjustments down here as you see fit. I'm going to change the color of the text to blue because I want to add a drop shadow, and I think that'll make the drop shadow stand out pretty good. Drag our area here, add the text, select that text, come on up here to Script Foo, Layer Effects, Drop Shadow. By default this is fine, but you can make some adjustments on the offset distance and the size of the spread, even the opacity if you want to make it a little more darker or lighter. But this is fine. I'm just going to go ahead and click on OK. And there you go. Now you were able to do these same types of effects on older versions of Gimp, but there are multiple steps, and now you're click done. And this is how you can add more functionality to your Gimp program by way of add-on scripts. Thanks for watching, and you have a great day. This video is going to show you how to quickly add a gradient type color to text using the free image creator and editor called Gimp. Now you can download Gimp for your particular operating system at gimp.org, and the installation is very straightforward. Once you have Gimp installed, go ahead and open up the program and create your image canvas. And to create your image canvas, you come on up here to File, go to New, and choose the size of your image area. And I suggest you make it bigger than what you think you're going to need, because you can always crop your finished product from that canvas area so that you only have what you want. Hopefully that made sense. And you can go here under Advanced Options and choose your resolution. If you're looking for print type quality, then you might want to go as high as maybe 300. Otherwise, for web-based products, 72 is plenty. And this fill width is referring to the foreground or the background color. And by default, you got black and white. Black for the foreground, white for the background. And when it says here fill with background color, that's what we're talking about here. You can adjust that to fill it with foreground color, white, or transparency. So you've got a lot of options to work with here. And if this is something you're going to be using over and over again, this particular size and style, go ahead and give it a name. That way you can quickly pull up that particular template for every single instance you're going to be using this particular setup for. But this all works fine for me. Click on OK. Now let's go ahead and add some text. Go over here to the text tool, and you can either make these adjustments on the image itself, or I find it a lot easier just to go ahead and make the adjustments right here. And I'm going to go ahead and start off with the text being black because we're going to add a gradient color to it anyway, but I do want to make it bold. Choose the font style here. This particular font is fine, but I want it to be bold. And I want the size to be a little bit bigger. Okay, a lot bigger. And then come on up here and click in your canvas area and drag to the size of the text area you're going to be working with. And you can always make this larger too if you find you need more space. And to add the gradient, you're going to be using your blend tool. So go ahead and select this. And this uses the foreground and background colors for the blend. And right now, and you see here that FG to BG, you can adjust that too right here by clicking on this arrow. But what I want is a little more color than the black and white. So let's go with the foreground, let's say blue, and the background, how about that? Nothing I would normally use, but for the sake of this demonstration, I think that'll work. Now, before you actually apply this, you want to come up here and in the Layers dialog, you want to make sure that the text is selected and lock alpha channel. Because if you don't, then this is how you apply the blend. That's what's going to happen. So let's undo that, and I can do the Control letter Z to undo that, or you come up here to the undo history if you have this in your dialog box, and then just come on up here prior to whenever you made your mistake. So let's go ahead and lock the alpha channel and try this again. Now if you do it this way, then the color will be dark on top, and then this color here, whatever that is, on the bottom. If you do it side to side, then the dominant or the foreground color will be to the left, and this other color, the background color, will be to the right. So let's do it from top to bottom. Hold your left mouse button down while you're dragging down, and you see the darker color to the left is on top, and the other color, the background color, is on the bottom. Or you can do it from left to right or right to left, totally up to you. You can even do it from the middle to get different effects. You can even go at an angle, again, to get a different effect. And then to save your little masterpiece, you don't want to use all of this area here. Like I had said earlier, you want to crop just what you want. So to do that, come on up here to the crop tool. That's this little X-Acto knife looking thing. Select that, and then put it right where you want to select your image that you want to keep, and then let go. Hit your enter key, and there you go. Come on up here to File, go to Export, and then navigate to the location on your computer where you want to save your image to. Now before you click on Export, you really should give it a name, something other than Untitled. And you can also decide if you want it to be a .png or .jpg. And the only time I would select .png for myself anyway is if I'm trying to maintain some kind of a transparent background, which in this case I'm not. So I'm going to go with JPG, and the name, click on Export. And this pops up. You can adjust the quality from the default 90 to whatever. You've got your advanced options here if you find the need to make any adjustments here, and for me that's all fine, just the default. Click on export, open that directory up, and here is our image. And that is how easy it is to add a gradient color to your text using Gimp. Thanks for watching and have a great day. This video is going to show you how to create a glowing text effect using Gimp. So after you've downloaded and installed Gimp, go ahead and open up the Gimp program. Come on up here to File, go to New, and select a size that you know is going to be bigger than what you actually need, because we're going to end up cropping down to just the area that we use when we're finished. So this is plenty big for what I'm going to be working with. Go ahead and click on OK. And this is a little bit bigger than what the video is allowing for, so let's knock this down to 50% so we can get everything in the video. Squeeze this back in here, and I want to make sure that layers is chosen up here, and I'm going to go ahead and make this a black background. So come on over here to my paint bucket, and with the background selected, now I want to add my text. Select the text tool. You can adjust the font style here if you want, as well as the color. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and select the color now, and we're going to make this a little bit of a red color. Yeah, it looks good right in there. And let's go with 100 pixels. I know that's rather large, but yeah, it'll work. And I want this to be bold. So select in here where we want to start typing. And then if you feel the need to move this around at all, come on up here and select the Move tool. And at this point you want to make sure that the layer that you want to move is selected. And then I'm going to move this up here closer to the top corner, because I'm going to be getting rid of all this space here. Then come on up here and right click on your text layer, and right down here close to the bottom, just off the video recording, you want to make the selection that says Alpha to Selection, and just left click on that. Come on up here to Select, choose Border 5, which I believe is the default number anyway, and then click on OK. Now we want to choose a new layer. Make sure it is transparent, which it is, I believe, by default. Click on OK. Let's come on up here and make our text layer invisible just by clicking on the eyeball there to the left of it. Now we want to change the foreground color from the color of the text to something that's in the same range but a little bit brighter. So we select that foreground color, and I'm going to go in this neck of the woods here, somewhere in here. You can see the preview right here. That'll work. Come on up here to Edit. Make sure that the layer, and by the way, this is our glowy part here, make sure that that's selected. And tell you what, so let's make this a little more descriptive rather than just having it say layer. Let's right click on it, and right here where it says Edit Layer Attributes, left click on that and give it a name. For lack of imagination, that'll work. Now we know that this layer is our glowy part. Now then we come on back up here to Edit, Fill with FG Color. Again, make sure the glowy part layer is selected. Now come on back up to Select, choose None. Let's make the text layer visible again by hitting that eyeball location. Make sure that the glowy part layer is selected. Come on up here to Filters. Come on down to Blur. Choose Gaussian Blur. And we want to change the 5.0 to 20 or 30. But we want to make sure this chain link is connected. That's what it looks like when it's not connected. Make sure that it's connected. That way we make the change right up here under horizontal, and the vertical will automatically be made for us. Let's go ahead and change that to 30. Click on OK, and there we go. And depending upon your particular situation, what this glowing text is going to be used for would depend on what colors you choose, what background you choose, or maybe you would prefer that the background be transparent. Fine. You just hit the eyeball on the black background and just save your final product as a PNG so that the transparent background will stay in effect. But I want mine to be a black background, and like I said earlier, I don't want all this extra space here. So come on up here to the Crop tool, select the area that you want to save, and make sure that while you're doing this, you're not going to be cutting off any of the glowy part. That'll just kind of flatten it out and take away from the glowiness. Hit your Enter key, come on up here to File, select Export, navigate to the location on your computer where you want to save it to, give it a name, and again, if you're wanting it to be a transparent background, then you would want to change this from JPG to PNG. Click on Export, and I want the quality to be 100, and if there's any changes you want to make in the advanced options, then you just select that, make whatever changes you want. For me, the default is fine. Then click on Export. Let's go ahead and open up our image and see what it looks like. Now this effect works best with a black background and a bright color for the text, but play around with the colors and see what works best for you and your particular situation. And that is how you can create a cool glowing text effect using Gimp. Thanks for watching, and you have a great day. This video will walk you through the steps involved in using the free image editor and creator called Gimp to create a text effect where the text looks like it's popping out of the background image like this. So after you've downloaded and installed your Gimp program, go ahead and open it up. You want to create your image canvas area by going up to File, go to New, and whatever width or dimensions you want to use is totally up to you. I'm going to stick with these numbers here. I just hit the minus key on my keyboard to shrink this down. You could also do so by adjusting the numbers down here. So let's go ahead and add the texture to the background here. And you do that by selecting the bucket fill tool. Come on down here and select the pattern fill and choose whatever texture you want by clicking on this button. And there's a whole bunch of patterns already available by default, but you can search online for even more. But let's stick with one that I already use, and that's the tree bark. Bring the bucket over to your image area and just left click on your mouse and it fills it in. Now we need to add the text layer. Come over here to the text tool in the toolbox, select that, make your adjustments down here below the toolbox of the font style, and the font size. And I'm going to go ahead and keep my color at black, but you can adjust that as well. Then just click in your image area, just drag to a big enough area, and you can always adjust this later if need be, and type in your text. Now then you come up here in the dialog box, and I've got the undo history selected, and I don't want that. Hopefully I won't need it, because you can use this to undo mistakes. But I want to go to the layers dialog box, and then right click on my text dialog, and down here almost to the bottom, and of course it is off of the video, is alpha to selection. Go ahead and left click on that, and once that's selected you can see what's called the marching ants going around. Now we want to select the background because I want to copy this look to the text area here. So with the background layer selected, come up here to edit, come on down and left click on copy, and come on up here and select the text layer with the marching ants. Come on back to the edit option in the menu bar, and then come on down and select paste. And you can see that that created a floating selection. We want to anchor that to the text layer here. And you can do that by coming on down here to the bottom of the layer dialog box and clicking on anchor. Now it looks like it just disappeared, but if we get rid of the background we can see that it's still there. Now we want to create a new layer. Come on down here, click on new layer, and you want to make sure it's set to transparency. Click on OK. Now I need the shape of the text into that new layer. So we select the text layer, right click, and go on down to alpha to selection. That's one right here. Get those marching ants again. Now we come up here and select the new layer. Come on up to the select option in the menu bar, and then come on down and choose grow. And I found that the number 5 works best for me, but you can play around with that. Then click on OK. Now that we've grown that, we need to fill it in with a black color. So we come over here to the bucket fill tool and make sure we get the FG color fill selected, and make sure that the foreground color or the FG color is black. Then you can see here, while I'm over the image area, I've got that circle with a line through it. That says, no way, Jose. Not until we get into an area that we can actually add that to. And that's whenever we want to left click on our mouse and fills it in. Now we want to come up to the select option in the menu bar, select all, come on over to the filters option in the menu bar, select blur, Gaussian blur, and here we want to make sure of a couple of things. We want to make sure that number is 20, and we want to make sure that this chain link is actually attached. like that, and click on OK. Now we need to move the text layer above the blur layer by selecting the text layer and hit this green arrow down at the bottom of the layers dialog box. Now to add just a little more depth to this, I want to put a little bevel on the edges here of the text layer. So again, make sure that the text layer is selected. Right click, alpha to selection, come on up to filters, go to decor, add bevel. Make sure these two boxes are unchecked, and somewhere between 5 to 8. And we'll go with 7. 7 sounds fine. And then click on OK. Now then, let me increase the size here so you can see this. What I want to do now is go to the Move tool and then grab the text and then move it just a little bit to the left and up. Play around with it until it looks good. And that's it. Come on up here to Select, choose None. And this is how you can make the text look like it's popping out of the background. From this point, you can save it or make any other edits that you want. Now to save this as a whole, you come up here, go to Export, choose the location that you want to save it to, give it a name, and then click on Export. If you want to crop this down at all, and you come over here to the Crop tool and just select the area that you want to keep, hit your Enter button, then do the save. File, Export, Location, Name, and then click on Export. And that's going to bring us to the end of this video. Thanks for watching, and you have a great day.